Hello, everyone. This is Michael with Data Tech 11, and we are going to jump into Windows 11 and some of the different looks it has and some of the different features it has. So let's get into it. So right away, we notice the tiles down at the bottom look tremendously like a Mac or Apple product. But as soon as you open and click on the Start Windows button, it looks very much like a Microsoft interface. So that's the Start button. Noticeably, the Start button, instead of being on the left, is now in the center. So you're going to have to deal with your muscle memory moving the mouse down to the bottom left-hand corner. And you're going to have to, now it can be moved, and I believe you can change it. And I may get into that on a different video. But if you right click on the Windows tab, you can see that there's a bunch of different options like power options, event viewer, device manager, network connections. So there's a lot of different settings right out of the gate just with right clicking on that Windows tab. And then, of course, we still have the search, but they've added widgets again, which, if you remember, Windows Vista had widgets, although this is a little laid out a little nicer and a little cleaner. But if you want to find out what's going on in the world, literally, you could just click on the widgets in all of your news feeds and your weather. And of course, this can be updated. This says Cross City, Florida right now, but of course, we can you can even click detect my location, and then there it is. We're not really technically in Kodak, but you get the point. So, all these widgets, they're just powered by different organizations. It'll tell you who it is. Like this is and this is AP, Associated Press. This is CNN. And of course, you can click on them and then go to whatever it is that widget is offering. And of course, it opens up a web browser. So that's another thing. And then we've got, like I said, the widgets are, you can continue to scroll down using your roller bar and things of that nature. Obviously, Microsoft is totally embedded. You really can't install Windows 11 without having a Microsoft account. So those of you who have resisted the urge over the years to create and build a Microsoft account, you're going to have to build an email address with a Microsoft account. Usually that's, Jim1234 at outlook.com, but they have a few others, live.com, but I would recommend using Outlook because that's just their interface. You don't have to buy Office, but you definitely have to have a Microsoft account. And of course, that maps to them wanting you to eventually get an Office 365 account because that's where a lot of their revenue stream comes from. The chat feature is pretty cool. You can click on this and, you can see, you can basically chat with somebody, even with somebody who has an iPhone in that chat feature. So with text messages and messages. So that's a pretty neat feature that they've added. On the gaming front, we have found out through some research that there's going to be future games that use the GPU to load images directly to NVMe M.2 solid state drive from it to the GPU directly. So for those gamers out there, that's going to mean something to you, to everybody else, not so much. And so, yeah, I mean, it seems relatively the same quickness in terms of speed and things like that. You can use this button here to, you can move and have, if you go to the top right, see how I clicked and I moved to the top right, you have 4 different screens and you can just pick what's on each one of those screens. So you just kind of move it and then open up each individual tile and have different things going on each tab. So like that, for example, and you can move this one over there. And so you can have multiple different screens going. And let's see what else we can look at. When you go into properties, it looks a little bit different with the system and about stuff. You can see that Intel i3 processor and 8 gigs of RAM, and then Windows 11 Home Edition. They've already got a cumulative update, and apparently for the gamers out there, it actually made all of the AMD Ryzen processors slower than they were, which is crazy to think, but AMD and Microsoft have been working together, and the next update, they're going to resolve that. But for the most part, if you have Windows 10 right now, I'm going to create a link in the description below, or a comment with a link for the compatibility to see whether or not your laptop or desktop is capable of meeting the minimum expectations from Microsoft. So you can click on that link and it will detect, and you will be able to find out whether or not you qualify. There is not a cost for Windows 11 upgrade. However, again, you have to have your Microsoft account. So do yourself a favor, and if you're thinking of upgrading to Windows 11, you certainly want to go ahead and create that Microsoft account before you start. And so that's pretty much all I know at the moment. We're going to make some other videos, in the days and weeks to come, and as we learn a little bit more. But as far as the, anything you want to search for, this is important. You don't have to go to Google and then search. You can literally just search right in the search bar. For example, if I type in GMC, then there is the results from the web. And then if I had a picture of a GMC truck, it would show my files in File Explorer. You can look at right here where it says Documents or Web. So you can choose all, or you can choose whichever one you're looking for, but it's going to pull up everything there is right there. And you can just click on it, and then it'll immediately take you to your search, and then you can go straight to whatever website you want. So pretty simple and straightforward, and not a lot has changed other than the tiles are down at the bottom and a couple of bells and whistles with the widgets. I think the widgets are really one of the things that stands out and is a lot different. If you remember before, when you clicked on the windows, you had all these tabs and nobody ever really used them. They were, the Microsoft Store and a bunch of others. And this is laid out a little bit easier and straightforward. There's your notepad right there. Another thing to note for the gamers out there is that Xbox, their website is now allocated for their store. And it used to be two different things. So you had their Xbox, and then you had your Xbox apps, and there were two different ones. They've combined that in Windows 11, so that's good. And so that's all I've really got to say about Windows 11 so far. Again, I'm going to provide a link in the comment section of this video, and you can go ahead and click on that link and find out if your computer is compatible with Windows 11 or not. Thank you very much for listening to the video, and we'll see you on the next one.